I'm Calla Cofield with Space.com. We're here at the Starfleet Academy experience at the Intrepid Museum in New York City with a real Starfleet alumni, George Takei. So first I just want to ask you, the atmosphere here, this is a huge exhibit. Do you feel like you've been transported back to the USS Enterprise?
Well, I certainly feel like I've been transported to a futuristic looking museum exhibit because the Enterprise, was designed as a ship. And here we see it sprawling all over into various different exhibits. And it's very well done. It's actually more reflective of the style and design of the next generation. Ours, in this context, looks old-fashioned.
Well, and so this visitors who come here, they take quizzes, they find out maybe what Starfleet category they would fit into. Did you take the quiz? Did you find out?
I did take the quiz. It's 9 of the exhibits are interactive, so you can participate in the exhibit. But I had a 20-minute run through, so I never got to finish any of them.
Didn't get to find out.
The tricorder on the sick Klingon, or the Kobayashi Maru test. We never got to finish any of it, so I don't know what the tests arranged will say about me. And maybe I should be kind of glad that it didn't say what I should be.
Just so people remember you as what Sulu was instead of, I don't know, did you ever actually want to travel to space when you were a kid or as an adult?
As a kid and as an adult. I saw a movie back then when I was a kid called Destination Moon. And that was fascinating. So I've been interested in that genre from the time I was very young. It's exploration of the unknown in our context today. And certainly when President Kennedy announced that before the decade is out, we will land a man on the moon, was a thrilling statement. And I think all of it, not just America, but the world, wanted to see that man land on the moon. And sure enough, in 1969, Neil Armstrong took the first small step on that planet. It was a thrilling experience. But that was the year that Star Trek got canceled. So we had landed on planets many, many times before Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. And to us, it looked old-fashioned, gawky, all those spiny little things that, cushion the capsule landing on the moon. When all we had to do was step on an energy pad, sparkle for a few seconds, pop out, and a few seconds later, sparkle at the destination, whether it's another planet or another ship, and reappear.
Yes.
So that was really old-fashioned, but nevertheless, it was a thrill to see a human being and an American on the surface of the moon.
And now I think the next step in America's journey into space is going to actually be where, Juno's amazing, but people being able to buy a ticket and go on a ride to space. And I'm curious, would you ever want to do that? Would you want to take a suborbital flight just as a vacation, a brief trip?
As a matter of fact, I am going to be doing something like that this August in Las Vegas. Have you heard of the non-gravity flights that they have now?
Oh yes, you're going to go on the Vomit Comet?
Yes, I'm going to do that. And people today are afraid to do that. I mean, where's that spirit of Star Trek? All these Star Trek fans, why don't they do that? I mean, they're very skittish about it. To be free of gravity and to be floating like the astronauts are doing on the International Space Station. It looks graceful, it looks liberating, it looks wonderfully free.
So you're looking forward to it.
I am.
Let me also ask you, we'll wrap up here, but let me ask you, so this is an example, this exhibit of Star Trek being used to educate young people
and inspire
and inspire them to continue in science and space exploration. Do you feel like you get to be a part of that and spread that message, being an actor from the show?
Well, I do Star Trek conventions, and we have talks at the Star Trek conventions, and I talk about that. I say we are today, in the year 2016, living in a science fiction world, certainly from the vantage point of 1966, when we did Star Trek. I mean, the amazing device that we had called our communicator, that was astounding then. No cords, and that small, attached to our bodies. Today, we're way past that. We live in a science fiction world. We are animals of imagination and innovation and invention. We create our future. It's us that do it. It's not something that happens by magic. And that's what science fantasy, Star Wars is. It's fantastical. But we say, we imagine the unimagined way out there in space. And that becomes an inspiration to today's scientists, researchers, innovators, the inventors. And so they say, okay, how do we do that? Well, we know this, and this about physics. What if we tried this? And the asking of the what if is what the right side of the human brain does. The world we live in today is one of those worlds that people in the past thought of. And so we will be able to go out there. I mean, we are, on the 4th of July, going to circle Jupiter.
Yeah.
And then eventually burn up. And that's not quite as exciting as getting one of us, a human being, on the moon. That's what made that exciting. But we're also now imagining the possibility of one of us on Mars. And what's the challenge of that? That journey is going to take a good chunk of a person's lifetime just to get there. And then once you get there, a good chunk of that person's lifetime is going to be spent in solitary, like that character that Matt Damon played in that film. And so what's that going to be like? And so we're already testing that. We have people on a mountaintop in Hawaii who are dealing with isolation and what happens to the human mind when you're so isolated. And it's only, the internet that you can keep in touch with. How do you keep your humanity then? So we're asking those questions. And that is because we seriously intend to get someone on the moon. In the same way that way back in Queen Isabella's time, Columbus said, beyond the horizon is something else. We won't fall off. I want to go out there. Yeah. It's that spirit of what's beyond that? What if? And Queen Isabella said, I'll take a risk on it. Yeah. I'll finance your 3 ships. Go out there, and if you fall off, we won't, you're going knowing that you will, but you're confident you're not. And so he went. And this world that we live in today is because people thought, what if? It's that spirit in the humankind that will get us out there.